Hello and welcome to another episode of the podcast. Lots to share this week. I've been working on several projects this week for one specific reason, which I'll share in a minute. I've started something new. I've made some progress on a couple of projects. I have finished something where I finished knitting a while ago, but I didn't completely finish it, so I'll completely finish it now. So I've got lots and lots to share this week, so I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you're new here, my name is Anniken. I design knitting patterns. I teach knitting workshops online and in person, and I sell yarn through my website YarnAddict.co.uk. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. And thank you to all of you who watched my videos and subscribed in January. If you're a long-term subscriber, I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. If you subscribed in January, I had my best increase ever in subscriber numbers in January, and I had the best revenue from YouTube ads in January as well. My previous best month was October last year, but January just topped that by a couple of pounds. We're not talking a lot of money. To be perfectly transparent, I made about £60 from YouTube in January, so it's not a lot compared to the amount of time I spent filming and editing videos. But you know, I enjoy doing this, and making a little bit of extra money from it is just a bonus at the moment. So really appreciate it if you're supporting the channel. If you haven't subscribed yet and you like being here, please consider subscribing. And if you like and comment, that gets this video seen by lots of other people. So the video I had in January, that kind of went a bit I wouldn't call it viral, semi-viral. Viral for me, I think. It had more views than most of my videos in a very short space of time. It's not my most viewed video. My most popular video since I started this channel is my review on Knit Pro needles. The first one I did on Knit Pro circular and interchangeable needles, where I covered loads of the different Knit Pro needles, materials and stuff, because they do so many different ones. Then I did another one probably like a year or two later, where I specifically reviewed the Knit Pro Mindful collection. But the first Knit Pro video is my most popular one. Let me just have a quick look and see what the other ones are. My most popular video ever is my Knitting Pro review, as I said. It was a video on fixing a dropped stitch, and then how to knit a short row top-down sleeve cap. I may have to replace that one because I do it slightly differently now. Then it was yarn advent calendars, are they worth it? And then how do people knit so much? And the how do people knit so much was from January this year, and that's the one that got me a lot of views in January, and that's probably where a lot of the new subscribers came from in January. So I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. So if you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing and tell your friends about me. I really appreciate that. I know some of you gave me a shout out on, was it Threads, a day or two ago? So I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. In a week's time, I'm going to be at Unravel. It's 14th, 15th and 16th of February in Farnham in Surrey, at the Maltings in Farnham in Surrey. So we're leaving a week from today, and I have got a lot of stuff to do. I've ordered all my yarn, beads and notions. Yarn and notions have arrived. The beads haven't yet because I was a bit late ordering them, but I'm hoping they'll be here early next week. So I need to like label stuff and pack it, and I've still got loads of patterns to print, and I've got to go through all my samples and decide what samples to take. I have I think a medium store, but that only allows me to have 2 tables. And normally at like Yarndale last year, I had 4 tables. At Wonderful last year, I had 3 tables, I think, and I was struggling. So 2 tables at Unravel, I'm slightly panicking. I think it's a lot easier if you have like grid walls and stuff, but I don't have that because I don't have room to transport it, because we don't hire a van. We only use our car, which is big-ish but not massive. It's like an average sized family car, I guess. And grid walls just don't fit very easily. Last year I did 3 shows: Wonderwall, Yarndale and a local one in Liscar, 3 bags full, which isn't running this year, I don't think. And this year I am doing Unravel, and I've applied for Yarndale, but I don't know yet. So if I get offered a place at YarnAddict, I'll be doing 2 shows this year. I'm not doing Wonderwall this year for various reasons, but just Unravel and hopefully YarnAddict this year. So let's get on and talk about knitting. Before we talk about what I've been knitting this week, I just want to share, I think I talked about this last week, but the pattern has actually been published now. My Cornwall hat pattern has been published. I have got 3 other ones I've knitted here. This one is the latest version, which I think I shared last week or the week before because I've just finished it. And it's basically a double layer hat. So this one is pink on the outside or inside and purple on the other side with a fold-up brim. And the fold-up brim is I was going to say voluntary, is you don't have to do the fold-up brim. Can't think of the word. You can do the fold-up brim if you want to, but you don't have to. But it does make it a little bit more cozy and a little bit warmer. So you can have it this way around, or you can have it this way around with the pink on the outside and the contrast brim. You can do it all in one colour, so if you don't want the contrast brim, you can just do it all in one colour. And you can also do it without the brim. So this is Simon's hat that I knitted for him last autumn. I also knitted one for him in yarn I got from Beautiful Knitters. It's a German yarn, I can't remember the name of it, which was the first of these hats that I knitted for Simon. And that was Christmas 2023. And I hadn't actually planned to write up the pattern at that point because I thought there are other patterns like this out there, so I don't need to write up the pattern. And then I knitted one for myself. This one's a sock yarn, I can't remember what it is. I knitted this for me in the winter of 2024, so like a year ago. I have pictures of me knitting it when we went to Cardiff last winter, about a year ago. I can't remember if it was like February or March. It's quite cold, might have been February, when my daughter was running in a half marathon in one of the parks in Cardiff. It's not the main Cardiff marathon, it was another run where you could do like a shorter run or a half marathon, and she did the half marathon, I think. And I had pictures of me and video of me, or I did have video of me knitting it there while I was watching her. And then I knitted a hot pink one for me, which I wore a lot when I was in Norway last time in January, and I left that in Norway because I knew I was coming back so quickly. And I don't wear hats a lot here because it doesn't get cold enough for me here to wear hats. I get quite hot when I'm out walking, so I don't wear hats unless it's very cold. And then I knitted one each for the girls for Christmas, which they've obviously taken back to Wales with them, so I don't have those to show you. So I've knitted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of these hats now. Simon has requested one with a fold-up brim, so I will be casting on for one of these for him soon. I might cast on in time for Unravel, because it could be a good project just to knit on during the show when it's quiet. If I finish the crown increases, I can just knit straight. Also a good project to knit on in the car, even on the Sunday when we're driving home. It could be a good project to knit on in the car because it's just stocking stitch once you get past the increases. So the way this hat works is you cast on at one end. I have tutorials linked in the pattern showing you how to do a really neat cast on. Don't know if you can see it because you start with just 8 stitches. The start is a bit fiddly, but once you start increasing, it gets better quickly. So you just got to like grit your teeth and get through the first few rounds. And then when you get to the full circumference that you want the hat to be, you just knit straight. If you want to change color, you can do that. You can do stripes. It's a really good way of using up lost leftovers. This is knitted in 4-ply yarn or sock yarn. Any yarn that has around 400 meters per 100 grams. The one that I knitted for the girls was Fina, which has 450 meters. And then once it's the length you wanted, minus the crown shaping, you just decrease for the crown back down to 8 stitches, and then you take the one end and thread it inside the other one like that, and then it's ready to be worn. So quite easy hat, I think, and loads of options for customization. There is also a tutorial which I released on Tuesday this week where I show you how to finish off the top of the hat when you cast off and weave in the yarn, because you have to weave in the yarn on the outside of the hat because you've closed up this hole, so there's no way to get to the inside. So that was my Tuesday video this week, so I will link that below. I'll link the pattern below. There is a discount, 25% off the pattern on Ravelry and PayHip until the 13th of February. And I will also have the pattern, printed copies of the pattern, and this yarn. This is and this yarn. These are knitted in Marlon's Uruguay Allegria. I will have that at Unravel next week if you're coming. The other thing I finished is this bag, which finally has a lining and handles. So I lined it in this really hot pink. So I finished this the night before I went to Norway at the end of December. I had to go to Norway as an emergency. For those of you who haven't been watching the last few episodes, my mum had an accident and broke a hip and ended up in hospital. So, and my dad's got dementia, so I had a phone call one Saturday afternoon, I think, late afternoon. I booked a flight, I flew over the next day, and I was on this top edge of this hat, so I quickly finished it that evening just so I could like be done with it. Then when I came home, I kind of didn't get around to doing the lining, and then eventually I made the lining. So the lining I made out of felt because it's easier to sew, and especially if you're doing it by hand. I did do it by machine, but because of felt, because it doesn't fray, you don't have to fold the edge over and all that kind of faff. You just put the two layers together, sew around it, and it's very, very easy. And then I actually, on this one, I did put in a couple of slip pockets here and on the other side here. So I just cut some spare felt into rectangles and stitched them in around 3 sides, so that if I want to take like my phone and my card holder and my keys and things like that, I can just pop that in there. Then I decided to put some poppers on this because I had some magnetic poppers, so I decided to put those, but I could have just put them through the felt fabric, but I thought it would be more solid and more secure if I put it through the felt and the knitted fabric. But then they do kind of show on the outside, so I decided to put them under where the handles were. I do have a tote bag that has poppers like this underneath where the handles are, so I sew the handles over them to cover them up. So if I show you that, you can just about see it there. And I must have been sewing the handles on. I did that last night and it was a bit of a hassle. I am thinking now that I probably should have put a popper in the middle instead, because of these pockets. It kind of leaves, I sew them a little bit too close to the top edge, and if I put stuff in there, especially like my card holder and stuff, it's very easy for people just to get their fingers in there, or they could fall out easily. And I do have more of those poppers. I am thinking maybe I should put one up here, but then I need to put something on the outside to cover that. But I got buttons and things, so I could stick a button on there, but I haven't decided yet. I'll see what I decide to do. Then I got these handles from Etsy. I made a crochet tote bag last summer, and I got some brown handles. And I bought 2 pairs for some reason, and I used those for this crochet tote bag. So I decided to go for the same handles. And originally I was going to use the brown ones because I already have a set left. And then I thought brown doesn't go very good with black, so I ordered some black ones of the same. I ordered this size, and then I ordered some shorter ones. And I was going to do the short ones, and then I changed my mind. So these are long enough to go on my shoulder and also go over my arm. So I'm really pleased with that. It does fit quite a lot. It's quite big. So I'm just going to put some yarn in here just to show you what it looks like when it's got stuff in it. So like that. And the yarn I used, the black is Yatagan Merino Cotton in black. And the colour is my YarnAddict from the Discreet Unicorn. It's the DK Sparkly Merino, or Merino Nylon, I'm not sure, but Sparkly DK I think it's called. And it was the advent calendar. It's 25 colours because it was a 25-day advent, and I only used like about 3 grams from each ball, so I have loads left over that I need to do something with. And my original plan was to start on something for that in January, but I haven't decided what. And then because I had to go to Norway, it's just fallen off the back burner, so I will now be putting it off till after my next trip to Norway. This pattern will be released eventually. I have actually written up like the basic pattern but I want to knit another version first. So till I've knitted the second version, I'm not going to send it to my tech editor. And also because I'm going to be in Norway, I'm going to put it off till I come back from Norway. So I want to knit another version because I want to knit a version using yarn that I sell and also that doesn't use an advent calendar or mini skeins. So I ordered specifically the Cyberball Sterke 6. So it's a six ply yarn, which is like a thin DK. It's a bit thinner, I think, than the DK I use for that, but I think it'll be fine. And I picked out these two colours. Originally I was thinking this colour, but I don't want to use black. I have a very dark grey, but I haven't got that many balls of it because I was thinking about casting this on. So I thought, will it work with a lighter grey? And I thought, no, because they're too similar. You have to be very careful when you're using a variegated yarn. And this one is like two colours spun together and then self-striping. And there are loads of different colours in here. And if you use a yarn that's very similar, you're not going to get enough contrast. I've seen people who have used a solid colour and then a variegated or self-striping colour, but they've taken one of the colours from their variegated or self-striping yarn and chosen that colour in a solid colour to think like it complements each other. And it doesn't give you enough contrast because when those colours come close to each other, like there are bits of grey in here and that comes to next to that grey, it's not going to give you enough contrast. So I think I'm going to wait till I come back from Norway and probably order more of the dark grey and see how that works and also see what other colours I need to order. I did also think about that one, that contrasts more. I was also thinking about a dark purple like this one. There is a bit of purple in here, so I'm not sure that that will contrast enough. I was thinking about pink, but there is a little bit of pink in here. And then I'd also pulled this one out to knit a pair of socks. I was thinking about this being my travel project on the way to Norway, but I'm not sure. So I was thinking maybe I'd go for that with that. Although there is a bit of grey in here as well, so I don't know. Then I did think about maybe sticking with this and going for that, or maybe going for navy. I think navy might work. So anyway, what I'm saying is I need to probably knit a swatch. I was thinking about doing it before I unravel, but I'm not going to be casting this on until after I get back from Norway. So I've decided just to think about it for a bit and see how much of the Yatagam merino cotton I sell at Unravel, and then reorder while I'm in Norway the colours I need and then make a decision. I've also got this colour which is really pretty. Now I was thinking maybe those go better. Don't think there's any blues in here, so that might be an option. But if it's a bag that I'm actually going to be using rather than just keeping it as a sample, I'm a bit worried about a light colour because it'll show the dirt more. The good thing about this black colour is that if I put it down, it doesn't show the dirt as well. I actually got a little bit of chocolate on it yesterday because as I was sewing on the handles, I was drinking a hot chocolate and I must have got a bit of chocolate on my hand because I ended up with a bit of chocolate on near one of the handles. But I managed to wash it off. So I was lucky. But I'm really pleased with it, and I am looking forward to releasing the pattern eventually, but it won't be quite yet. But it'll be a perfect pattern either for two solid colours of DK, or a solid and a variegated, or a solid and leftovers, or a solid and mini skeins. I could just do it in two solid colours. That's another thing I've been thinking about, just doing it in two solid colours of merino cotton. That's another option, which I might go for, I don't know yet. Or maybe solid colour and then changing between 2 or 3 other different solid colours from merino cotton. That'll probably be the easiest option, but I don't know yet. So basically I don't know yet. I need to think about it while I'm in Norway. Before we get to my main project this week, on Sunday we decided to go to the cinema, so we went to see the new Bob Dylan film, which I can't remember what it's called. Is it called something like A Complete Unknown or something like that? I can't remember. But the new Bob Dylan film, it's really good. Really enjoyed it. So we went to see that on Sunday, and we kind of made a decision on Sunday morning because we wanted to go out somewhere and the weather wasn't very good. And Simon wanted to pop into Plymouth for something else. So we thought, well, let's go to the cinema afterwards. And I didn't really have time to... Was it Sunday we went or was it Saturday? Anyway, that doesn't matter. I didn't really have time to cast on for a new project. I was considering casting on for a hat when we decided in the morning. I thought, can I cast on for a hat and get through the crown increases? And then that would be really easy knitting. But I hadn't decided what yarn to use yet, and I would have had to wind it because it's probably going to come in hanks because most of my yarn is in hanks, and I thought, no, it's just going to be too much. It didn't take too much time. So I didn't do that. I thought, should I cast on for another pair of socks? I would like to knit a pair of socks in either of these two colours because I could do with some thicker socks. And then I thought I should really finish the socks I've already got on my needles. So the socks I've got on my needles are the ones I started on the way back from Norway, I think. So I knitted this one. I think I cast this on in December sometime, but I can't remember now. And finished the first one in Norway, I think, and then cast on for the second one when I left Norway. I can't remember. But I'd got to where that top marker is. So the first marker is at the end of the toe, and then that top marker was where I got to, and I think that's 30 rounds. And I thought, well, I've got another 25 rounds before I start increasing for the gusset for the heel. So this one I've actually done a short row heel, and because short row heels don't fit me that well because it doesn't give me enough fabric across this section, if I do a short row heel, I've been doing a gusset, so increasing here, do the short row heel, and then decrease here, and that gives me enough fabric across this part of my foot. And I had 25 rounds left to do to start on the gusset, so I thought that's fine, but that won't take me very long. And then I thought, can I do the gusset increases during the film? The problem is the gusset increases are not at the beginning or an end of the back part of my needle. It's you start increasing here and then you move it one stitch in every other round. And it's only increasing every other round. And normally I rely on just looking at it and seeing whether I'm on an increased round or whether I increased from the previous round and I'm on a plain round. And obviously I can't do that in the cinema because it's too dark. So I have a row counter, which I have on my phone. It's a little thing I got on my watch. And so on this little widget place is the one up there. And I downloaded it especially, it was one I actually paid for. I did it especially because I wanted to knit in the cinema. I guess it was sometime last year, or was it the year before, when I wanted to knit something in the cinema that I had to count my rounds on. So I decided to pay for it and downloaded it. I had a few problems getting it to work on my watch, so I contacted the owner and she was really, really good and helpful, and I got it working in the end. Because it's very difficult to use a kind of like a clicker row counter like I normally do. I normally use one of these, but that's difficult when you're at the cinema because you can't see the numbers. I also have a row counter on my phone, but if you turn your phone screen on during the film, it's very bright. During this film, somebody actually turned on their phone screen just as the film was starting, and they were like several rows in front of us over the other side. Somebody showing a bright light straight in your eyes, so it's very bright in the cinema. So I don't want to do that because I don't want to be a nuisance. If we're in the back row, I don't mind so much, but we weren't in the back row, we were in the second from the back row. So there were people behind us. I didn't want to be a nuisance. So I thought, well, if I count rows on my row counter, then I will know whether I'm on an increased round or not. I think every even round was an increased round, and then I just counted and I managed to work it out. So I stopped when I got to the end of the decreases. And then I also, because I decided I wasn't going to attempt to do the short row heel in the cinema. I have done a standard like a heel flap and heel turn in the cinema before. And that was okay many, many years ago. But the cinema we went to then, it was an old cinema in Truro in Cornwall, a long time ago. And the cinema wasn't completely dark. It was a little like spotlights in the ceiling, so I could just about see my knitting, so that wasn't as much of a problem. But I was thinking before I left, what can I cast on that I can knit in the cinema? So I wanted to knit another one of these because I want to release this pattern in the next couple of weeks. I will have this pattern for Unravel, so it should be knitted on 3.25mm needles. That's what I knitted the Glamour Clutch in. This one is smaller. It's the same height, but it's the frame is a bit smaller, and I used 3.5mm needles on this one because I had them on a cable and I couldn't bother to change it. I mean, isn't that stupid? So I knitted this last year sometime. The pattern's been ready for a while. I just need to add final photos. But because this one came out a bit like uneven, can you see how the stitch definition isn't great? I don't know whether that's the beads or whether that's the needle size. So I thought I'm going to knit another version of it on the correct needle size, i.e. 3.25. And I cast on for the base, because the base is just stocking stitch, so it's 39 stitches and 8 centimeters. So I cast on and knitted one row, and then I thought I'll do the rest in the cinema. I started this when the like previews and ads started, and I finished it 15 minutes into the film. So that didn't take me very long. And then I knitted on the sock for the rest of the film, and I think I finished what I could do on the sock about half an hour before the end of the film. So the last half an hour I didn't knit anything. With the previews and ads and everything, I think the film was, the whole feature was 2 hours and 45 minutes. So there is another film I really want to see that's out at the moment, and the last weekend we can see it is this weekend, because then we've got to Unravel and then I go away, and I worry by the time I get back in March it will have finished. So I might suggest to Simon that we go and see that this weekend, and I thought if we do, then I need to cast on something else so I have a bit more to knit on. I can't do this project at the cinema because I will be adding beads on every other round, so it's a lot of beads. I'm going to start, I picked up the stitches and knitted one round when I go home, so I can now start beading. The beads I've chosen are purple ones. So this one I did a purple yarn with the pink beads, so I thought for this one I will go with pink yarn and purple beads. And then I did also pick out some, because I had a bag lying here, some of these beads, and I thought, shall I mix them? But I'm not sure yet. I'll have to see what it looks like with the pink later. But I'm going to try and get started on this today and try and finish it by the end of the weekend. I think I already have the lining made up, so I can just stitch it in, and I would like to finish that in time for Unravel, so I have an extra sample for Unravel, so I need to get on with that this weekend. So my plan was to try and work on that new clutch bag a bit this week, but I've kind of got sidetracked by my main project. So this project had a little bit of a setback this week. Where shall I put my project bag? Let's put it there. So what I'm doing is I'm knitting this sweater or t-shirt or top, whatever you want to call it, again. By the way, if you can hear birdsong and a bit of background noise, I got the window open because I worked out this morning, so I was quite warm when I came in here. It's sunny today, it's quite cold, but it's sunny, and I can hear the birds singing right outside my window. So if you can hear birdsong, that's why you can hear that. So I'm knitting that, but I'm knitting it in a different yarn. I'm knitting it in Manos Uruguay Fino, and last week I think I had just finished the top. It's knitted from the top down. I think last week I had just joined at the underarm. So at the underarm I cast off 15 stitches here, and then I joined the body, well, 15 stitches on this side, so it's kind of like that. And then I joined the body and started knitting on the round. I had 360 stitches. I knitted 12 rounds, and then on Sunday evening I suddenly realized that I should have been decreasing. So after I joined the sleeves, I should have been decreasing. So on this sweater, I joined the sleeves here, and then can you see how there's a, well, you can you see how it doesn't go straight down, it goes and then diagonally across. You see that last pink bit here, there's a diagonal shape. Well, I forgot about that, didn't I? So when I first realised that, I thought, shall I just leave it and just have the body be wider? But I really like the fit on this. So I thought, I don't know. And also I thought, because I have a lot more stitches than I'm supposed to have, I think 312 stitches. I think that's what I'm supposed to have. Let me just double check. Yeah, 312 stitches rather than 360. So I thought, even if I spent a few hours unpicking, re-knitting it, once I've got down to those 312 stitches, I'll have a lot less stitches and it will be quicker to re-knit that, and also I will use less yarn, and I was a bit worried about it being too oversized. So I started unpicking on Monday. I had an appointment at the eye hospital in Plymouth on Monday. Nothing serious, but I suffer from very dry eyes and the doctor referred me last summer. So my appointment finally came through. Summer's office is across the road from where the eye hospital is. So and he has to go into work once a week. So I dropped him off at his office in the morning. We left home about 8, I think. Dropped him off at his office. Then I drove into the centre of Plymouth and thought I'll do a bit of shopping because I had a couple of shops I wanted to pop into. Parking, like most city centres, is quite expensive. So I did the shopping I had to do and looked in a couple of other shops. But I don't really enjoy browsing shops that much anymore. So I didn't do a lot of browsing, and after about an hour I thought, well, I finished really, should I go and sit in a coffee shop and knit? But then I also think, well, it's a bit of a waste of time paying to sit in a coffee shop, and there are other coffee shops that I can go to where the parking is free. So I left, drove out to a shop across the car park from the eye hospital, and they have a coffee shop there that I've been to before, and I knew they had like 2 sofa groups there that are quite comfortable, and I was planning to spend like a couple hours there. So I went there and I was really lucky because one of the ladies sitting in one of the sofas was just about to leave. So I was like, are you leaving? She said yes, and I said, do you mind if I just hang around and grab your sofa once you've gone? She said yes. So I got some lunch and I started unpicking, and I spent 2 hours there and I didn't finish the unpicking. So when I unpick lace, instead of going back stitch by stitch, I normally go several rounds down. So I did like, I think 6 rounds at a time. I just put my needle in 6 rows down, unpick a whole round, and then wind up the yarn and untangle it. And then so I think I got like most of it done, but not quite all of it. And then I went for my hospital appointment. I didn't take my knitting with me. I don't like knitting in the waiting room because when they call you in, you have to like suddenly shove your project back in the bag and you feel like you've got to hurry up. So normally I will just like scroll on my phone or something. I should have brought my Kindle so I could have read. That would have been a better idea, and I will do that when I go back for a checkup in a few weeks. But I waited for an hour before I got called in. So my appointment was at 1, I got called in at 2. So I wished I brought my knitting because I could have got quite a lot done. I was there for nearly an hour because I had to see 2 different people. And then I had a prescription which I had to fill at a pharmacy at the main hospital in Plymouth, which is like 5 minutes drive away. So I drove up there, dropped my prescription off. She said it'll take about half an hour. There's a coffee shop next door. So I went in the coffee shop. They're supposed to text you when your prescription is ready. So I went to the coffee shop next door and got a hot chocolate and a cake and carried on unpicking, and I managed to finish the unpicking. And then I went back because she said if you don't get a text after half an hour, come back, which so I did. And then I had to wait for another 20 minutes, and then I had to go and pick Simon up, and then we had to go home. So I was out from 8 in the morning. I don't think we got home till like gone 5 o'clock. And I got to go back in about 6 weeks. Next time I'm going to ask for a morning appointment, which hopefully might mean they're not running so late. But I got quite a lot of knitting done on Monday. So since Monday evening, I've been re-knitting. So I finished the decreases on Tuesday, I guess. No, it might have been yesterday actually. And so this, where that, hang on, can you see this? Let's hold it like that, that's easier. So where this marker is where the sleeve joint is. So this bit I basically knitted since Monday because I'd gotten to like there, had to unrip again, and then I knitted all that since Monday. I have 10, I think, repeats. So on this one, I did 18 repeats on the body. I think. I'm going to double check that in a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've done 8 repeats on the body here. And I've done 10, so I've got 11 left to do. This morning I couldn't sleep, so I got up quite early and I timed myself doing 1 repeat. So 1 repeat is 6 rounds. It took me 43 minutes and 30 seconds. So I would like to finish this by the end of the weekend, if I can, but I also need to work on that clutch bag. So I've decided to work out how many repeats I have left to do, which is, so I've got to do 21. How many did I say I've done? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I got 13 repeats to do. So if I do another 3 today, there'll be 4 in total today. So three more today. That will take me, if you say 45 minutes, that'll take me 2 hours and 15 minutes. That should be doable, I think. And then try and do split the rest between tomorrow and Saturday, and then have Sunday as a finishing blocking day. Should have quite a lot of knitting time tomorrow because I'm not working tomorrow afternoon because I got a dentist appointment. I've had a lot of dental problems lately and I'm having a tooth pulled out tomorrow, so after that I'm not going to want to do any work. My appointment is at 2, so I should hopefully be home by 3, so then I can just knit for the rest of the day. And then I have got, I don't know what we're doing yet over the weekend. So if we're out a lot of the weekend, I might not finish it on Monday. If we're home a lot of the weekend, I might get it finished. So you might see this finished next week, but I really would like to finish it before Unravel. But I do also need to knit a new version of this, and that is as important. But this will need to be blocked. I'm kind of thinking it'd be nice to take it with me to Unravel. I definitely would like to wear it when I go to Norway. I'm a bit mixed about wearing it at Unravel because I think it's probably going to be too hot anyway inside to wear it. And I have the yarn, although I don't think I've got any more in that colour. And I won't have the pattern for a while yet, but I will write up the pattern, I promise. I realised when I knitted this one, I only wrote up the pattern as far as the underarm, and then after that it was a bit sketchy and missing information, which is why I forgot about the decreases, because I hadn't actually written that down. So I've written down some very sketchy notes, so I'm kind of ironing out all the problems that I missed the first time and trying to write on everything I do, so when I actually come to write up the pattern properly and grade it, I have all the information there. Because if I was going to write it after knitting this, which I knitted last summer, can't remember, I would have missed the decreases at the underarm because I completely forgotten I did that. So I am using this as a way of like writing up what I actually do, and then when I get back from Norway I will start working on the pattern and get it tech edited and tested and published sometime in the spring, I think. That's the plan anyway. But I do also need to try and knit a bit on this. I'm going to knit on this today. I'm going to time myself and work out how much, like maybe a repeat or half a repeat of the stitch pattern takes me to knit. I can't remember how many rounds I'm in each repeat now, but it's like 1 diamond is 1 repeat. So it's probably 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, about 12 rounds maybe. So I'm going to see how much this takes me and then work out how many rounds I have to do, and then work out how many rounds I have to do a day to finish this. So I would really like to finish this by next Tuesday, so then I can spend like Wednesday sewing in the lining and the clutch frame and all that kind of stuff. No, I need to finish it before then because I also need to take photographs and add it to the pattern and print the pattern, and I'd like photos of both of them on the pattern. So I'm probably going to have to try and finish it by Monday. So maybe I need to prioritize the pink version of this. The lace top, as long as I finish it before we leave for Unravel. So if I finish it by next Wednesday, I can block it Wednesday evening, and you can just stay blocking on the dining room table while we're away. And then by the time we get back, it'll be dry and I can take it to Norway with me. I don't know. Anyway, watch this space. If you want to know what happens, come back next week because I will be here and I'll show you what I finished. Maybe both, maybe neither. We'll see. I also need to start thinking about what I'm going to knit when I go to Norway, because when I come back from Unravel, as I've said, I only have one day at home. So we come back late on the Sunday evening. I don't think we'll be back till like 10 o'clock at night, if we're lucky. So I think Unravel finishes at 4 on the Sunday. If we can get packed up and loaded the car and out of there by 6, which I think we can do, then, and we need to, it's about just under 4 hours to drive, plus we need to stop and get some to eat. So we're probably talking 4.5 hours. So I reckon we'll be home sometime between 10 and 11. And then I have Monday at home. I don't have a lot to pack for Norway because I have all my clothes in Norway, so I have to decide to pack everything else, which is quite a lot, but I can do a lot of that before we leave. And I just pack the rest of what I need to take with me to Norway, make sure I got everything. And then I would also like on the Monday, because normally when we come home from a show, we just unload the car. Simon unloads the car and dumps it in the lounge, and then I spend the next several days sorting it out. But I'm not going to have time to do a lot of that on the Monday. So my goal on the Monday is to go through all the yarn and count what we have left and put that back in here, and then make a list of it. And then I can always go on my website and update my website while I'm in Norway. So I'm going to close the website next Wednesday morning. So probably when I start work, but next Wednesday morning, I'll close the website, and then it'll be closed till I come back from Norway, which will be in early March, sometime 5th of March or something like that. So it'd be good if I could like count all the yarn, because once I put it away, I'm not going to get around to counting it, and I need to put it away in here, because I was thinking I could just store it in the spare bedroom, but I think my youngest daughter is planning to come home for a few days while I'm away, so she needs to sleep in there. So I need to get it put away in here as much as possible on that Monday. But I'm also going to be exhausted and not want to do much, especially because on the Tuesday I'm going to be at the station, local train station, for 6 in the morning. And I don't get to my parents so probably like 11 o'clock at night. It's because I have to allow, because I'm getting a train to London and then tube through London, train to the Stansted airport. So if everything goes to plan, everything's on time, I would probably get there about like 12:30. And my flight's not till 6 o'clock. But if I get a later train and there are then delays, and I follow the local train company on Twitter, and several times a week I see that there are delays between Cornwall and London because of various technical issues or whatever. If I end up being delayed, hours quickly go past. So because it's such a long travel, I have to be there early, which means I usually end up spending like 6 hours at the airport. But I'd rather be there 6 hours early and not worried than sitting on the train, watching the minutes tick past and panic that I'm going to miss my plane. And had to pay for another plane ticket the next day. So that's why I get there way too early. But I need to decide what knitting I'm going to take with me, and I haven't got a clue yet. I was going to talk about that today, but I think I'll talk about that next week, because this video is going quite long, and I need to take my dog out for a walk while it's still sunny outside. So it's sunny and cold, perfect weather to go for a walk, so I'm going to go and do that. If you're coming to Unravel, come and see me. I'll be in the cellar bar. I'll have patterns, yarn, samples, beads, notions, loads of stuff. I've got to work out how I'm going to fit it all in, which I'm not sure about yet. So come and see me at the cellar bar at Unravel if you're going to be there next week, Friday, Saturday and Sunday. And then I'll see you back here next week. There'll be a video on Tuesday. I can't remember what it's on. And there'll be another podcast next Friday. And after that, there'll hopefully be some knitting and yarn shopping from Norway to look forward to. So thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. And thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.